I was meaning to ask you last night if your shirt came or if you got a shirt.
Oh, no, yeah.
And then I was going to ask you what shirt. I was like, the one time we don't talk about a shirt, I bet this be the time them should be similar.
Because I thought it was like plain. I was like, he probably got some dopest shit to do. But, I mean, it ain't bad. Just
I like this. Yeah,
I like
this shit is regular. I wasn't about to get no crazy shit for Morbius. That's really what.
And I won't go get no Morbius.
Hell fucking no. Absolutely not.
I knew that before seeing the movie. I was like, nigga, I ain't even gonna front like I've ever been a big Morbius fan.
Hell
like. All right, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Cinecism. I'm Eric.
It's your boy Dante, man, and today we're going to be doing a review on Morbius.
For those who don't know, Morbius is a Marvel Comics villain, kind of turned like anti-hero sometimes. This movie focuses kind of on his origin and how he became this vampire-like creature. You got Dr. Michael Morbius, played by Jared Leto, who is trying to develop a cure for his whatever the fuck condition that they never explicitly stated.
I'm glad you said that. I was very lost. I thought he had MS at first, but he doesn't have MS. He has something that's going on with his blood.
It follows him trying to develop this cure by infusing like human blood with some kind of, dare I say, vampire bat blood. It ends up giving him these superhuman abilities and turning him basically into a vampire who has to feed on human blood in order to like just sustain his life. He starts off trying to use synthetic blood, which works for a while, but the effects quickly start to wear off and he starts to crave human blood more and more. Meantime, his best friend also consumed this cure, but of course it turns him into a villain. He's trying to convince Michael to just embrace his animalistic ways, and it just gets crazy, man. And man, we got to talk about this.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's the main plot of the movie. Michael Morbius developing his cure and then trying to reverse his cure after he realizes the horrible side effects that were bestowed upon him.
Yeah, that he bestowed upon him.
True. Let's talk about Michael Morbius first, I suppose.
Let's discuss him.
Jared Leto, who he just can't get in a good mood.
And it's so sad because it's like he's a phenomenal actor.
Great. He's a great actor.
And I will say that he's actually pretty decent in this. It's not really him.
Yeah. This time.
Yeah, right. We both are very vaguely familiar with Morbius.
First introduction that we really had to him as kids was on the animated Spider-Man series.
His origin was very different on there.
Yeah, he was. They said plasma. He had to derive his sustenance from plasma and stuff.
That's the word I remember. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, because they
and it was through his hands too.
I was about to say he had them hand things, and then he had like some shit on his chest too. Yeah. Let's talk about him here though.
Yeah. He seems to be a kind-hearted person, I guess. That's what they want us to think. He's a doctor, and he seems to care about human life, or at least the preservation of it. I don't think we really get to know a whole lot about him outside of his condition, and all his relationships seem to be like very like surface level. They try to give us some depth with him and the friend Milo, but even that was kind of like glossed over. We didn't really get to learn much about him before his transformation. I'll just say that.
And he transforms actually very quickly in the movie. It kind of happened.
It was lackluster, honestly.
Yeah, it really wasn't a lot of build up.
Yeah, that shit just kind of happened.
Yeah.
I'm not mad because they did it a little different than what we accustomed to, but it still kind of was abrupt to me. Sometimes they keep showing little signs of the gradual transformation in movies like this usually, but they kind of switched it up a little bit. It just happened. And then he's trying to reverse it, but I don't know if it's a good change.
Yeah.
But I respect that it's not the same as every other movie, I guess.
That's fair. Not for nothing. I didn't want this to be drawn out too much. So I kind of respected that they were trying to just get you in and get you out. If Morbius did anything, it did that. I guess that's about it when it comes to him. He has a relationship with his doctor friend, which seems to be platonic, but it's not. That was so contrived and forced.
That's the theme of this movie.
Yeah, right. The relationship that you get to know the best is, like you mentioned, the one he has with his friend, which is also very hollow, but that's the most developed one that we see. And I didn't understand how he gave that man a whole new name and that they were rolling with it. It was crazy to me. His name is Lucian, but they was calling him Milo. It was low-key like an insult, I guess, because the other Milos, I'm assuming, had died or something. So they met when they were children in this hospital.
That's a weird thing to me. That whole little, maybe this was in the comics, I don't know, but
I'll never know now.
That was just I don't know, it was an interesting thing to be thrown in there. All right, let's talk about stuff. I don't know if I can call them key moments or what. Just takeaways. We gonna call them that.
Shit happened. We dealing with it.
Did indeed happen. First off, him and Lucian or Milo's relationship and the decline, I was just not sold on that shit, man. First of all, Milo became evil so immediate. It was no transition whatsoever. Like, as soon as he got this, and I understand that when he first took it, he would be out of control.
Yes.
Like Morbius was. That was completely understandable.
Yes.
But then after that, it's like, he didn't give a fuck about nothing. Like, I'm talking about, at least Morbius was conflicted and troubled by what he had done. Milo immediately didn't care about murder. Like, he just immediately was like willingly killing people.
Bloodlust.
Or I guess they tried to show glimpses of violence when he attacked the bully, but he was fucking being bullied, so that ain't worked for me.
Right.
But the transition was just so abrupt and it felt so forced to me. I think mainly because we just didn't really get to know him outside of their kid or childhood friendship. Then they were grown. We saw them chilling in the park once. Yeah. I mean, that's probably why it felt like it happened so suddenly. We didn't really get to know him as a character.
I would have wished that if they took time with anything that had been more of a gradual thing. It's like he got the taste of blood and then he was just a murderer. And an insane one at that. Like, all he wanted to do was kill. And I was having a hard time really gripping with that because it didn't make any sense. He enjoyed it so much. It was just like, bro, there was no elements of this at all. So it was just very weird. I didn't even know he was rich.
They didn't really explain that. Like, when they was kids, they didn't even give any hints to like wealth or anything. He just popped up. We didn't know like he had money. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, whoa, how the fuck he living like this?
Yeah, right.
Maybe I missed something. I mean, but if you ain't see it either, I was like, yo, is this the same kid?
Yeah, right.
I'm not saying that's a necessary thing to state either, but
for the story, it would have been something that they should have spent a brief amount of time just giving, because like I said, he's the benefactor for his whole medical operation. Like, I didn't know that. I had to piece that together. The movie really never really explicitly states that. I thought that the beginning of this movie was actually pretty decent. I thought it was going along fairly well. It was paced fairly well. There wasn't still a lot of in-depth character development, but I was rolling. Once the friend ended up getting the serum and gone crazy, that's when this movie really started to go off the rails to me. Once his friend is revealed and starts being just explicitly evil, that's when this movie just really starts to lose whatever it was trying to do in the beginning. I mean, movies gonna have plot holes. That's just part of movies. You know what I'm saying? It's like some stuff is just not always gonna be explained. But this movie has so many plot holes. I beg the question if the same people wrote it. Like, it felt like different people wrote a movie and then they ended up piecing together parts of it.
Like, it could very well be the case. Wasn't there some issues with the production of this movie or something? Or
if so, that makes a lot of sense.
But I felt like there was some kind of production issue behind this movie, if I'm not mistaken.
There were things that just didn't feel explained, and then characters weren't reacting properly to his metamorphosis. If I saw a monster once, if I saw another monster, a ravenous monster, I'd probably still be as surprised that time too. Like, they were really just, Tyrese was really responding to a lot of this, like him turning into this vampire like it was nothing. I'm like, bro, ain't nobody scared. And that one officer was reacting appropriately.
Right.
But everybody else was just like, yep, another day in New York, I guess. Just like, nigga, no, it ain't. It was just like a lot of real continuity issues with this movie. It felt like it wasn't paced very well. It was very unusual how they decided to sequence this movie to me. It was very weird. They had this somewhat police investigation going on, but then they completely deaded that. I thought it was going to be a mystery, but no, they found out that it's Morbius very quickly, and it's like a lot of things that you thought were going to be build up are just kind of given to you, and then you just along for the ride of a movie.
Based on what I saw with the police, like, well, you know, with Tyrese and his partner, I feel like they were supposed to play a bigger role in this movie than they did.
Yeah.
Which they might have in an earlier script or something. And it felt like that to me. I felt like maybe we were supposed to be seeing things from their perspective, and they were going to like guide us through the movie. And this was going to be like more of a horror-esque type vibe, but it was like they were there, but they didn't really serve a purpose. The partner had some funny lines, genuinely funny
Absolutely,
moments.
yes.
Outside of that, they didn't really seem to have much use.
You bring up a really valid point too about the movie's identity. I didn't know the tone of this movie. Like, parts of it felt like a horror movie, then parts of it kind of felt like just a regular old Marvel movie, and then it felt like there were a lot of different elements, and not necessarily in a good way. You can't mix those things together, but the way that they did it here, here, like some of these scenes in here, like that scene in that hospital where the light was flickering, that's a horror movie scene, like textbook.
For sure.
But then there were parts of this movie where it felt almost like kind of campy superhero movies from back in the early 2000s or something. It was a weird blend of tones in this movie, which I think supports what you're saying, which is that I think it was just probably some production issues or other stuff going on here.
They got to start making these movies rated R, man. It makes it very obvious that this is a PG-13 movie when they have these overtly violent scenes and you see minimal blood.
Yeah.
You got to commit to movies like this, man. If it's going to be a violent scene, like we got to believe it. They want to appeal to a broader audience.
Yes.
Not a lot of people know who Michael Morbius is.
Yes.
He doesn't have the popularity of like a Deadpool or something. So I understand when they want to play it safe, but if you're going to do it, do it. Like if you're going to make a Morbius movie, like won't nobody checking for Morbius to begin with, but then you're going to make it, PG-13.
Yeah.
It just don't make sense.
Yeah.
Wasn't a fan of the action sequences here, man. It was very hard to keep track of what was going on. Like a lot. And I thought maybe it was just me. I like leaned back, I leaned forward. I was trying to adjust, and it was just hard to keep up with. It was almost hurting my goddamn head trying to watch some of this shit. Sometimes it was just like, what the fuck? It was just shit just moving all over the screen.
I swear to God.
And I could not make out even a body part.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I couldn't even, there were parts where I just saw rubble.
And
I didn't even see
on top of that, it was dark in a lot of the action scenes, so that made it even harder to see.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to keep up with when you're trying to, see what's going on and you just can't make shit out because it's a CGI jumble of shit.
Yeah.
Even though some of it looked cool, like, getting to see the, I'm assuming those were like sound waves or something. That was kind of cool. I wish it was incorporated a bit better.
I did think the effects did look pretty good. Like the CGI effects on them, that smoke element looked really cool. And also that sound wave, that sound work that they did when it was like, he was trying to do that sonar,
like echolocation.
Bro. You could feel the seats kind of shaking in the theater. I thought that they really captured the intensity of that. That was dope to me. It just wasn't utilized very well in the actual movie. But at moments where he was just not doing nothing and kind of just smoking or doing the sonar, it was better then. The moment that they start moving, it was like, nah, bro, I can't keep up.
I will say also, I like the design of his face when he would be like full like vampire. It was weird because they would be constantly like mutating like throughout the scenes. I don't know, that was weird.
That I could have done without,
like, committed to the face.
Yeah, having their faces morph and it's just in a movie that's already disoriented. Like you already trying to figure out what's going on. Now I gotta figure out what's going on with his face on top of the story. In a better movie, I could make it make sense to you, but in this movie I couldn't, because they could almost make the argument that they were torn between their humanity and the monster, but not in this movie, nigga. They should have just went on ahead and let them be creatures, especially old boy. He wasn't torn between nothing.
Another thing crazy, how old boy got the, not antidote, but
listen.
Yeah.
They never explained how he didn't even know what it was.
Or where was it?
Where was that?
Well, that's what I was going to ask about. It's like, it probably was just left out.
See, this is what I'm talking about with plot holes. Like, they tried to make it seem like this reveal, but it was really no moment in that scene that he could have grabbed it. Yeah. I guess on the way out, but the thing with me is like, you in a lab, it's vials and shit everywhere. Like, you don't know he never told him what it was, what it looked like.
Right.
So you just grabbed a bunch of vials and just took them bitches. They tried to really make it seem like it was a usual suspects reveal.
We knew he was going to get it.
Right.
Bro, I knew he was going to be the villain. Me too. From the time that we saw them as a kid. I was like, okay.
I knew when they were children, I was like, that's going to be the villain and they're going to be, because they had a similar affliction.
Yeah.
And that's usually what they do in these first movies. They make the villain similar to the hero.
They do, yeah.
Yes.
That's not even that big of a deal to me if the delivery is effective.
Correct.
Which it was not here.
No, it was not.
His descent into madness was far too fast.
Yeah. Like I said, the performances in this movie, I actually enjoyed. I thought Jared Leto did a good job. He was, for his affliction and the type of person he was, I thought he had a charm to him. I thought it was cool that they gave him the little origami thing. It was cool. His fellow doctor, his colleague, Martine, I thought thought she was great. I actually did, and I wish that she was in more scenes.
I mean, I thought everybody was cool. I thought the villain was good. He had so much potential.
That's what I said. I was like, man, this dude is really giving his all. I wish it was in a better movie, but this is the type of villain you want to see, and he really was like, for the way that he was conveying how much he cared about Morpheus. I wish we would have got to saw that, but he was delivering. I think just pieces of this movie probably just got left on the editing floor. That's what it felt like, and they tried to put something together. The girl Martine, she was super dope. Listen, bro, people be getting knocked out in movies so much that you think it's that simple. She literally just fell on the ground and was like in a coma. I thought she was gonna wake up on the boat, and then it turned out she was in the hospital still asleep. I mean, I'm like, what the fuck?
I think she bust her goddamn head, man.
On what though?
Floor? I mean, it was a lot of hard surfaces in there. I don't know, man. Shit was moving fast.
That's fair. I thought she just like, the way she fell.
Yeah, that's fair.
It didn't like conk on no shit. She fell like,
They didn't make it very clear that she had sustained a head injury.
I don't know what's going on with Hollywood writers and what their perception of bullies are. And then it was like they picked on them. They were literally just looking and it was like, oh, they got diseases. Like, what the fuck?
Hey, bro, we're not even visible. I'm just trying to chill.
Right.
Switch out my blood. Like, we chilling, bro. We just having a conversation.
Niggas making origami in the window and they just like, they're dying. Like, I was just like, what the fuck? And then they beat up the kid with the, I was like, it's savagely
yeah, that's
too.
A whole nother level.
Like, they really, I thought like one of us was going to knock them down or something. They was kicking the shit out of this defenseless kid.
They do be overdoing it with the bullies.
Yeah, it was OD, bro. If you want us to hate them, I hated them from the moment they pointed in the window. Right. You ain't need to kick the kid.
Last thing we can talk about is the after credits. There was a scene before the after credits scene, right? When he actually got transferred into this world. Adrian Toomes, Michael Keaton or the Vulture. Honestly, they could have left it at that. I was already like, We knew he was going to be in here somehow from the trailer. But then they got the after credits scene where he flew to meet Morbius in his goddamn whole Vulture attire, which, okay, maybe if he thought Morbius might be a threat, I can understand why he meet. But just the whole scene, the way it was set up and the dialogue, it was so cheesy. Like,
are they trying to, because he had saw the Scorpion in Spider-Man Homecoming. They haven't revisited that since that. There's been 2 movies since. We haven't heard nothing else about it. So are they still trying to say Sinister Six? This Morbius wasn't even evil. If you was going to do it, you should have got old boy.
Who?
That died.
Right.
She got Milo in the Sinister Six.
Also, if it's going to be more crossing over with the MCU, which I don't know what they're doing right now with Sony and Marvel. I don't know. But if that's the case, and we're going to see more like, crossover feature type situation, we have the introduction of Blade coming, and we know that Blade and Morbius are frequent collaborators or enemies sometimes. So maybe that's what they leading to too. I don't know. I honestly have no idea what they're doing with these worlds right now. But that's what the whole multiverse event opened the doors to, though, to all of these worlds being not connected, but partially connected simultaneously. If that shit opened up just a lot of different opportunities. Not to say that they're going to be good opportunities, but it opened the door to a lot of different paths that they can take with these characters.
The crazy thing is that I would be more invested in these if these movies were better. Like, that's the problem. These movies aren't good enough to make you want to see any continuation of these characters. I never want to see Morbius again, like in anything else. And I kind of feel the same way with Venom, even though I love Tom Hardy, but this version of Venom, I don't want to see him do nothing else, really. The passion and the care is not the same when it comes to these other movies, in my opinion. And I get it, like, everything not supposed to be a big epic. I do think that because superhero movies have gotten so big now that it's only natural that we get like more of these kind of just microwavable movies, but you can still make them good. It don't have to be an epic. Everything don't have to be Endgame or Dark Knight. I'm not asking for that, but they could be like good microwavable movies to me. Like, basic movie making stuff is not done well here. Like I said, pacing, characters, writing, all that stuff is it's not well done.
I mean, I've seen worse movies. I can't say I had a good time with this movie. Even if everything else fell short, at least I would have enjoyed it if the action scenes were like more well put together. If nothing else, if it was just had good action scenes, I probably could have had a more pleasant experience with this movie. But even those were let down because we couldn't really see what the fuck was going on, unfortunately. Somehow this movie was actually worse than what I was expecting. I was expecting it to not be great just because Sony and their track record with like anti-hero / villain movies just, I don't know, it hasn't been that good. So I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but I was expecting at least to be like a fun action movie, but it wasn't really even that. I'm curious to see him somewhere else, maybe. I want to see if him and Blade will cross paths. That's the only thing I could look forward to at this point. I'm gonna give Morbius a damn. Then that after credit scene, that shit ain't help either. Dare I say a 3? Is this a 3? Wasn't a whole lot of redeemable qualities about this movie.
I'm rolling with a 3.
It's a 3. It's a 3 for me, man. I'm glad it wasn't that long. I guess that's another good thing.
This movie was definitely worse than I expected, for sure. I didn't have real expectations for this movie because this is a character that I quite frankly don't care about, but was interested in because I'm familiar with him in a very vague way. And it's funny because when this movie first started, like I was saying, I didn't have those issues. It just, this movie slowly and then very quickly started to unravel in a bad way. I think they tried to play with a lot of different elements. They tried to be experimental, which with these characters, you can actually take a lot of liberty. So I at least respect that when it comes to some of these more obscure characters, they try to, I don't necessarily know if it's creative, but they try to take chances, which I can respect. And you can do that better with these because people are not as attached to these characters, so you're not going to get as much pushback. But whatever the fuck they did here, it didn't accomplish, bro. Not for nothing, the performances were good. I enjoyed it. Jared Leto gonna always deliver. I was unfamiliar with the young lady that played Martine. She was great. The guy that played Milo, he was a great villain, just in the wrong movie. For me, I'm gonna give this a 4. I would say don't waste your time, honestly. I wouldn't even watch this if it was free. Unless you love Morbius, which I don't think that you do. But if you do, if you love Morbius, don't watch this, actually. Like, now that I think about it, this might not be something you want to see if you love Morbius, but I would probably stay away from this movie, man.
That was our review of Morbius. I hope y'all enjoyed it. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any suggested reviews you'd like to see us cover here, please drop a comment below.
Absolutely. And if you guys have seen Morbius, I'm sorry, first and foremost, but if you've seen Morbius, please let us know what you thought of the movie. Are you familiar with the character? Are you a Morbius fan? Are you looking forward to seeing this in the future? Just please let me know. Let us know. We're very intrigued. Appreciate y'all, man.
Thank y'all.
All right, peace.